Hello, welcome back to the section of AWS Global Infrastructure. So when we talk about global infrastructure, so AWS has presence all over the world, right? So if you could see on this map, AWS is present in US, they have an infrastructure in US, they have in South America, they have in Middle East, Europe, India, I'm in the whole Asia Pacific region. And when I say these, they have a presence, that means there are regions. Okay, so that there is a US East 1 region, US East 2, US West 1, West 2, right? There is Canada, so we could see. Okay, so and there are other regions which, as we see in the blue circle, we could see that there are 7 regions, but here on the left side of the screen we see only 5 regions. Why? Because there are some of the regions which is controlled by US government, and we cannot create an account directly without having a permission from the US States Department, right? So that's why basically when you sign into your Amazon console, which we'll see in the coming sections, you will not be able to see those regions. There is a separate provision for that, right? Then you have in Asia Pacific, AP South 1 is in Mumbai, and Singapore, then Sydney, Tokyo, Seoul, Hong Kong. Europe, you have 5 regions. You have a Middle East, Bahrain, right? And then you have a South America, Sao Paulo, right? So this is what AWS has. So there are around 22 launched regions, okay, and there are 5 more announced regions as of today when I'm recording this video. So there's the one which is marked in orange, those announced regions, and in each of these regions there are availability zones. Okay, so region consists of multiple AZs. In short, we'll say it as AZ, and we'll see in the next slide what do you mean by this regions and availability zone. So let's talk about this AP South 1, which we have seen in the previous slide, that it's the Mumbai region. So AWS has its data centers in Mumbai region, okay, and these data centers are divided into 3 availability zones. Okay, so if you could see, there are 3 availability zones marked as A, B, and C, right? So and these availability zones are connected via the network. Okay, so there is a low latency network running across these availability zones. Okay, and these availability zones itself is a concrete data center. So why does AWS has to maintain these multiple availability AZs actually? So because in case of disaster, right, if whole data center's power goes off, or in case of some earthquake, right, so AWS services should be available in that region. So there should be a fallback, right? So that's why there is a multiple AZs deployed in the region. So when we deploy our cloud solutions, or when we architect our cloud solutions, we should take care that our services should be highly available. Okay, to make it highly available, we should make use of the multiple AZs scenario, right? So that if one of the AZs is not available, then our application or the should not go down, right? It should be always available, right? So that is the importance of these availability zones. Okay, and these AZs are within 100 kilometers of each other. Okay, and all the traffic between these AZs is encrypted, right? So we could see so for this AP South 1 region, now how do we decide that which region we should this is a very important thing to know, that how do we decide that which region we should create our AWS services, right? So we have 22 regions. We saw it, some is in US, some is in Europe. So how do we decide in which region we should launch our infrastructure, right? So it's pretty important. So there are a lot of factors which drives that. First is proximity, because if you have a customer who is in US and then you deploy your solution in Australia, then it's not going to work. They will feel latency, right? So you have customers in US, then you deploy your solution in Australia, is no. Okay, so proximity is very important. So if you should deploy your infrastructure very close to the customer. Second is service, right? So AWS keeps creating new services, and those new services may not be available in all the regions, right? It may be available in US but may not be available in Europe in some of the region. It could happen because the AWS is coming with a lot of machine learning services nowadays, and we could find those kinds of that's why service is another factor which is important, and we should be knowing what services we are trying to use, and if service is not available in that region in which you're trying to launch your infrastructure, then we should switch back to the other regions, right? Third thing is the cost. Cost is like in each of the regions, the AWS services cost will vary. Okay, let's talk about AWS EC2 instance, right? So AWS EC2 instance is a virtual machine, so that might vary from if you launch an EC2 instance in Asia Pacific to if you launch an EC2 instance in Europe. So it varies across regions, right? So that is also one of the factor. Okay. And fourth thing is compliance. Compliance, I mean, some of the countries, they have a GDPR, okay, guidelines available, and if whatever companies, they have to follow that GDPR guidelines. So that means that it could be one, you cannot deploy their data in other region, right? So that means if you are a US customer and you cannot deploy their data in Europe, so, okay, so because they are bound via that GDPR guidelines, they have to follow. Okay, so this is the another factor which drives your selection for the AWS region. Okay, so I think things are clear here with respect to regions and availability zones. Okay, the availability zones here helps you make your infrastructure highly available. Okay, services highly available, right? So just keep these things in mind, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you.